Thank you, Mr. Femina. I'll try to be short, and I will cross my fingers the floor not to fall under me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear delegates. It's really an honor for me to be here and participate in this very important and interesting conference. First of all, let me express my sincere appreciation towards the organizers of this meeting, which will give us a new opportunity to share our views and experience towards the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals, where the climate change holds a very serious position. It's no more than news that the climate change is one of the most threatening challenges of our planet. Georgia is among those countries who is threatened by this climate change. We can hardly get over from the consequences of the flooding last June in Tbilisi, my capital, which caused very severe consequences, a huge economical loss, up to $100 million US, not to mention the priceless human lives. To address correctly and to address the climate change challenges, we should first understand what the climate change is. I think there are five basic understandings what the climate change is. First fundamental understanding from my point of view is that climate is changing in a way not consistent with what we know about natural influence. The second basic understanding is to realize that the primary driver towards climate change is a human activity, primarily the burning fossil fuels and land change, land degradation. The third basic understanding we have to realize is that the climate change is changing more extensively and extremely than we are expecting, and causing, the average temperature, change in circulation patterns, causing floods, changes in rains and snow, severe storms, and we have to realize that it's not something which will threaten our grandchildren's lives and lives of their grandchildren. It's happening now, and we have to address it. And another understanding which I want to emphasize is that this harm from climate change will continue to grow if we don't act more aggressively. And it will continue to grow until the momentum when the climate system in the Earth will change, and the energy system will be affected and changed, and it will cause severe problems to the security of this planet. So the first fundamental understanding is how we should address these challenges. It's obvious that if we make less, the tension will be more severe, and if we will take aggressive steps, we can mitigate the consequences of the climate change. So that's why it's very important, first of all, to raise the awareness and to use the international forums and international organizations with its capacities to strengthen the cooperation and to execute international instruments properly. To talk about my region and Georgia, especially, Georgia is a vulnerable territory, not only from the political point of view and economical point of view, but from the natural point of view, because we have a seashore which is already affected by the climate change. Our glaciers are melting, and it causes problems to our energy dependence. The shrinking glaciers, desertification, losing of groundwaters, these are real problems which our economy faces. So our government strongly understands that without make aggressive steps, without coordination, without support from international organizations, OSCE as well, we cannot get over. To emphasize the steps my government had made recently, it's the very important step for us, which will help us, not help us, but which will be supportive for us during the Paris conference. We just adopted INDC document, and we are continuing work on the LETS program. And to mention about the INDC, we have taken the business as usual scenario. 3 scenarios have been looked through, and we intend to reduce the emissions up to 50% by 2030. Yes, sure, the climate change is a challenge for the security issues. I have just mentioned the melting glaciers. It's real, they are melting. After last scientific investigations after the ruining of Soviet Union, we have the picture where the rivers which start from the glaciers. We need these rivers for providing and for the energy infrastructure, but if we will not have the water, we will have the serious problems. So we are trying to look at the climate change from the nexus of water, energy, and food. These are 3 issues very strictly interlinked between each other. And we are trying to be more resilient and adaptive and well prepared, but since the climate change is quite expensive issue, it's really hard for the countries with the transitional economy to be more active in this field. But still, as we have serious problems, we are trying to be very active. So finally, to finalize my speech, I want to emphasize the recommendations which we as a government of Georgia are keeping in mind. First, it's the reduction of emissions. It is the cooperation between states and between international organizations which can serve as breaking silos between governments and international organizations and all other stakeholders, because we need everybody on a board. Otherwise, without public participation and without public participation from all stakeholders, we cannot reach our goal. And finally, it's the main, most important target to increase adaptation and mitigation measures. And I hope that we will do it, and I hope that with the support of all organizations, of all countries, with the cooperation, finally the climate change will be mitigated by 2030. Also, I want to emphasize the Sustainable Development Goals, where all these 17 goals and 169 targets may be linked to the climate change, because no poverty, zero hunger, resilient cities, resilient urban management, consumption of natural resources in a sustainable way, it is everything linked to the climate change. So, hope that we will achieve our goals. Thank you very much.